Imagine standing in a cold, damp field in England, where the grass is dangerously slippery under your boots and your palms are sweating against the wooden handle of your shield. In front of you, hundreds of angry warriors are screaming, banging their axes against their shields in a deafening roar that vibrates through your chest. You aren't just looking at a group of soldiers, you are staring at a wall of solid wood and sharpened steel, the legendary Viking shield wall, where one wrong move could be your last. Most movies get this completely wrong, showing Vikings jumping around and fighting as wild, lone individuals, but in reality, that was a guaranteed way to get killed. The Vikings were masters of teamwork who fought as a single unit, using this wall as their greatest weapon, a puzzle made of men and oak. To survive, you had to understand the math of the battlefield, knowing exactly where to stand and how to breathe in a high-stakes game of push and shove. In this video, we are going to break down the secrets of the shield wall, looking at the gear, the stance, and the brutal reality of the clash. We will even compare the Viking wall to the famous Roman Phalanx to see who was truly the king of the battlefield. If you stay until the very end, I will share a secret survival trick, a specific move that saved thousands of lives when the wall finally started to crumble, marking the difference between going home a hero or staying on the field forever. Let's learn how to survive the Viking shield wall. Before you can survive the fight, you need the right tools, and the Viking shield is the most important part of your kit. It's not just a piece of wood, it's a carefully designed machine, usually round and made of light wood like linden or pine, about 3 feet wide to cover your torso while remaining light enough to move quickly. In the center sits a heavy iron ball called a boss, which protects your hand and turns your shield into a giant fist, allowing you to punch an enemy in the face with a deadly iron center.
A single shield is strong, but it is not a wall. To make the Skjaldborg, you had to overlap, placing the edge of your shield over the edge of the man next to you to create a solid barrier of wood that looked like the scales on a fish. This overlap was the key to staying alive, because while an axe could easily knock a single shield aside, the locked strength of the entire army supported you when the line was joined. Next, you needed a way to reach the enemy. While most think of the axe, the spear was the real king of the shield wall. It allowed you to kill from a distance, poking at the enemy's face or legs from the safety of the wooden barrier. The axe was reserved for when things got messy, using its thin blade to hook the top of an enemy's shield and pull it down, creating a gap for your friends with spears to strike, a true team sport. Now that you have your gear, you need to know where to stand. A shield wall is like a human building with different layers, starting with the first rank, the strongest and bravest men, whose only goal is to hold the line. They plant their feet, lean their shoulders into the wood, and stay low to keep the wall tight, knowing that if they move even a few inches, the whole formation could fall apart. Directly behind them is the second rank, known as the stingers, who do the most damage by thrusting spears over the shoulders of the front line. They aim for the enemy's throat or eyes, creating a terrifying experience for the opponent, who must face a wall of wood while sharp metal points constantly stab at their face. This two-layer system makes the shield wall an incredibly difficult formation to beat.
The third rank and those behind them are the pushers, providing the physical weight that turns the battle into a giant shoving match. Hundreds of men lean forward with all their might, ensuring the front line isn't pushed back and instantly replacing anyone who falls, because a single hole in the wall would let the enemy pour in like water through a crack. Beyond the physics, you have to master the psychology of the wall. It's not about individual skill, but absolute trust. You trust the man to your left to keep his shield up and the man to your right not to run, because in the Viking world, a coward who fled was seen as the murderer of his own friends. You stay together or you die alone. To truly understand this, we compare the Skjaldborg to the famous Roman Phalanx. The Romans were robotic professionals using square shields in a testudo or tortoise formation, which was great for blocking arrows but struggled on uneven ground. Unlike the rigid Roman box, the Viking wall was flexible. Their round shields allowed them to adjust the line quickly, curving around hills or wrapping around the enemy. While Romans relied on the short gladius sword, the Vikings used long spears and axes, giving them a 6-foot reach that could hit you before you ever got close. The Viking wall wasn't a brick house, it was a thick hedge. It could bend without ever breaking.
Then we have the Anglo-Saxons, the Vikings' greatest rivals, who used a shield wall so similar that battles like Hastings became day-long endurance tests where two massive walls of wood smashed into each other without breaking. The wall was so incredibly strong that even charging horses couldn't penetrate it. As long as you stayed in formation, you were almost invincible against cavalry. However, the biggest weakness of the shield wall was the flank, the very end of the line. Because the shields only protect the front and everyone is packed so tight, once an enemy gets around the side or behind you, it's game over. The Viking wall was built like a freight train made of humans, unstoppable moving forward, but vulnerable if the ends folded and panic set in. So imagine you are actually in that wall right now. The enemy is screaming and shields are crashing. To stay alive, you must master your stance. Never stand with your feet together, or one strong push will finish you. You need 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, knees bent, lowering your center of gravity until you are like a heavy stone. Lean your entire shoulder into the back of your shield rather than just holding it with your arm, using your full body weight to brace against the brutal impact of the enemy's charge. Second, you must hold your shield the right way. Unlike what you see in movies, Vikings didn't strap shields to their forearms. They held them by a single wooden handle behind the iron boss, which allowed them to rotate the shield quickly to block any angle, tilting up for an axe or dropping down for a spear. Keep your elbow slightly bent to act like a spring, because locking your arm straight is a quick way to let a heavy blow break your bones. Third, you have to learn the shield push. This isn't just about standing still. On a signal, the entire wall screams and slams forward, using the shield to smash into the enemy's chest and knock them off balance for the second rank to strike. It's a rhythmic dance of pushing and stabbing. Never get greedy, keep your weapon close, and make short, quick thrusts. Eventually, your lungs will burn and your muscles will shake, which is why you must master the rotation. When the man behind you taps your shoulder, you slide back like a gear in a machine to catch your breath while he takes your place. But even the strongest wall has a nightmare, the Svinfylking, or the boar snout. This is a triangle-shaped wedge of the strongest warriors running full speed to split your line like a heavy axe splitting a log. If you are on the receiving end of a boar snout, the pressure is so high that your shields will splinter and crack under the sheer force.
Once the wall breaks, the nature of the battle changes instantly, and the safety of the group is gone. It becomes every man for himself in the most dangerous moment of the entire day. Most killing happens during the rout, when one side panics and turns to run, leaving their backs exposed to spears. If you see your line falling apart, do not run blindly. Instead, look for your closest friends and form a small circle. A circle has no flank, making it much harder to kill a small group standing back to back than 100 men running in different directions. The men who survived the Viking Age weren't necessarily the fastest runners, but those who stayed shoulder to shoulder until the very last second. Survival depended on geometry, physics, and most importantly, brotherhood. Realizing that a group of ordinary men acting as one is stronger than a hero alone. Whether facing the English or comparing themselves to the Roman Empire, the shield wall remained the Vikings' greatest achievement, a community built for war. And as promised, here is the secret survival trick.
Don't look at the enemy's eyes, look at their feet. Most warriors telegraph their next move with their footwork. If they shift weight to the front, they are about to strike, and if they step back, they are tired. Watching the feet gives you a half-second advantage, which, in a shield wall, is the difference between life and death. Thank you for watching. Keep your shield up, your feet planted, and we'll see you in the next one.